How did I control alt delete my life at age 40? That's what I'm talking about today, folks. Welcome back to the Uncivilized podcast. My name is Traver Boehm. I'm your host. And today I'm grabbing the mic myself to do an informal talk. A week ago on Substack, someone made a post saying that she had restarted her life at 40 and was curious if anybody else had done the same. And my reply was, well, I'm not 40 at the moment, I'm 50. But when I turned 40, I did a control alt delete of my life. And it was the best thing that ever happened to me. And as you can imagine, I was then flooded by people reaching out in the Substack DMs or in the comments under the post asking, how did I do this? And so I want to share some loose notes on the experience and walk you through it in case you're going through the same thing, no matter what age you are. So I've got some coffee here. It's early in the morning in Boulder. This is going to be a very informal episode, but I think it's valuable if you're at a point in your life when either you've been forced to restart, which was my case, or you're purposely, consciously, intentionally restarting yourself. So again, welcome to the Uncivilized podcast. I'm going to give you a quick follow me on Substack at Traver Boehm. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like, comment, subscribe. If you're listening, please share this episode at the end with someone that you love. Okay, let's dive in. So I have a post-it note in front of me, if you can see this, if you're watching on Substack or on YouTube, with 3 different notes, and that's it. And that's my sketch for this conversation. And so the 3 things that I did to control alt delete my life, and I'll get into this story a little bit in a moment, were number 1, I completely accepted what was happening. And yes, that took some time and energy. Number 2, I got super curious about what was coming into me, what was being shown to me, and I made the space to do so. And number 3, I busted my ass. I worked my fucking face off when I realized the direction I was going. Okay, so let's circle back and take these one by one. My story has been written about, shared about, spoken about so many times that I won't leave you all of it here. But a week before my 39th birthday, I found out I was getting divorced very quickly and unceremoniously. My ex-wife and I had been pregnant the year before, and so that had not happened. That had did not come to fruition, which led to the divorce, which very quickly led to a business partnership separation, let's call it, as well. So in a very short time, I went from thinking I was going to be a father to being a husband to being the co-owner of this incredible community-based business to suddenly not being any of the 3 of them. And that is a lot of change very quickly. And at the time of my life, I had very little spiritual training, let's call it, therapeutic training, and not a lot of skill on how to handle hard things. But I did have some intuition. And I did have an odd background of being a really big Carolyn Myss fan. Her last name is Myss. If you don't know her work, please find it. And I remembered a book that I had read in my 20s from Carolyn Myss, and I think it may be Anatomy of the Spirit. And in it, she tells the story of a man who lost 3 things in rapid succession. And she said somewhere in that book, when that happens to you, stop and take notice. Be like, whoa, 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 let's slow this train down. There's something bigger at work here. Beyond just, holy shit, I can't believe this is happening to me. This is awful. How did my life get deep sixed? So I remember sitting on my couch in Santa Barbara, like a week or 2 after everything exploded, and remembering that line and thinking, what possibly could be happening here? Could there be like a radical reorientation of my life? Could there be a radical reorganization of my life? This is a really important question. Is there any part of me that is relieved or pleased or happy, even if it's deeply, deeply buried, about the fact that my life has now fallen apart? Is there any sense of relief? And for me, there was. I was a heavy drinker at the time. I was a like phenomenally heavy pot smoker. I was a porn user. I was over exerciser. I was trying to run multiple businesses. I was out of control and not dealing with any of the pain of my life, or I had not dealt with any of the pain of my life. So I just added more and more shit on top of it to suppress it. So boom, my life explodes. And suddenly there's, oh, wow, now I have to deal with this. Now I get to deal with this. Now there's the space to explore and navigate who I am without all of these titles and relationships and I don't know what else to call them. I don't want to call them weights, but social identities, let's call them. So that was the story. So point one, as I brought up in the beginning, is one of the hardest pieces, but the piece I kept having to come back to over and over and over was this sentence. This is happening. Or this has happened, right? When you're in it, it's still more this is happening. There were times when I would wake up, perfectly honest with you all, and say, I cannot believe this is happening. I cannot believe this is happening. I feel like I've woken up into a nightmare. How did 3 weeks ago my life felt like it was on track and now suddenly, boom, everything has exploded? Like, how has this happened? And I remember a very specific conversation I had with my buddy Jim. And in it, I was trying to suss out, like, why had my ex-wife left? Like, was it this? Was it that? Could it have been this? Could it have been that? And we were talking for maybe 45 minutes. And this was a common conversation I'd have because I wanted to know. My brain just couldn't wrap itself around the fact that I'd been like married a week before and then suddenly wasn't. And I remember we get to this lull in the conversation, like we both kind of paused. And then semi at the same time, we both said, it actually doesn't matter why she left. It actually doesn't matter why your business partnership isn't there. It doesn't matter why any of this is happening. It's happening, right? It's still happening no matter what the reason we assign to it or what the truth of the reason it is. It's still happening. Figuring out why isn't going to make it unhappen or not happen. So that was a real big piece of just surrendering to the fact that my life had now taken a radical turn. And this was the reality of it. And by accepting that and surrendering to that, what it got me back and what it will get you back is all of the time, energy, and attention that you're spending. Think of it like money. You're like investing and you're pouring your money into figuring out why, as opposed to pouring your money, time, attention, and energy into moving forward or holding yourself while it reorganizes you, because that takes a lot of presence and energy as well. If you're at a point in your life, no matter what the point is, where you're waking up and going, holy crap, I cannot believe this is my reality, my first piece of advice is to simply accept that it's happening. Now, I'm not a big fan of everything happens for a reason, that line. I think that's a spiritual bypass line. I'm not a fan at all. And yet, I do believe things happen in our lives to shift us from one place to another, to end relationships we shouldn't be in, to end dynamics we shouldn't be in, to end jobs we shouldn't be in, to end locations we shouldn't be in. Like that there is some force inside of us. I'll get a little weird with y'all. Call it your psyche, call it your soul, that will redirect you if you're not on a path you, quote, should be on. Now, I can say that as someone whose life is so radically different at 50 than it was at 40. And I can't imagine having not made this change. I haven't had a drink in 11 years. I don't smoke pot. I don't look at porn. I've written 3 books. I've been on the TEDx stage twice. I built an international men's movement. I've done 77 Days in Darkness. I have a new idea coming out called Olsly, right? Like my life is so different than it was 10 years ago. I was hiding who I was. I was hiding parts of my sexuality. I was hiding parts of how I expressed myself. I didn't believe anyone would read my writing. I didn't have the self-worth and the self-value that I have now, having gone through the gauntlet of the initiation of waking up one day and going, holy shit, this is a nightmare. So accept that it's happening, surrender to it's happening, and I'm going to add a little sub point here. Have so much grace and care and love for yourself as if your best friend was going through the same thing. If your best friend got diagnosed with cancer, you would be bringing them food, checking in on them, telling them you love them, asking them how you can support them, caring for them, showing them grace, just loving on them. Do that for yourself so that when you do eventually come through the initiation, you will also have the experience of no self-betrayal, of no judgment, of literally just being like looking in the mirror. I did this, looked right in the mirror and went, thank you. Thank you so much for taking such exquisite care of me. Said this to myself throughout this process. Now, one more piece to accept and surrender to. Let people help you. A lot of people helped me when I was going through that. I got a lot of phone calls checking in on me. People brought me food. People invited me to dinners. People helped me. People sat with me. People went for walks with me in the park. People went surfing with me. I did not isolate. As much as I wanted to just like crawl in a hole and die, I let people be a part of my process. I was careful who was a part of my process, but I let people be a part of my process. Okay, that's number one. Number two, oftentimes there's now space being created when your life gets Control Alt deleted, right? Suddenly I wasn't going to be a father. I wasn't a husband, so that was a full-time job that I didn't have. I left my business. I sold it to my partner, so I didn't have that full-time job. And there was now just all of this new space opening up. There's a lot of free time, which may feel like hell, but it's usable. And so I took that space, and I advise you to take that space and let it just be. I remember a buddy of mine who I sat down with, older guy, when this was all happening, and he said the year after my marriage ended and the business closed and all of this, he said, your job for the next 12 months is to sit in coffee shops a lot, to journal a lot, to stare at trees and to stare at the ocean a lot. And yes, I will say that I didn't have kids and I did have an income. So I want to put those 2 points out there that my life was a little bit different. But what he was trying to say is like, don't immediately run off and start another business. Don't immediately run off and try to get remarried. Don't run off and get someone pregnant, for God's sakes. Don't try to replace what you've lost. Sit in the space between what you've lost and what is trying to come through into your life. And that was incredible, incredible advice. Let there be space, even if the space is excruciating. Now, why do we want to let there be space? Because in the space, what allows to come through, or what you will allow to come through, is curiosity. Not why did this happen? Woe is me. How could this have happened to me? But what could be trying to come through here? What could be opening into my life? What are the 3 things people have said to me in the last 3 weeks that I went, that's the same thing. 3 people told me that. That's interesting. What conversations have you overheard? What new workshop or new event that you're going to go to that, I haven't done that in a while. Maybe I'll go to that. This looks interesting. What part of you is coming alive that wasn't alive before? Right? A big portion of the 10 years after my life fell apart, after the Control Alt Delete, was working with men, leading a men's movement. If you're watching on YouTube, you see it behind me, Uncivilized. If you followed any of my work, it's mostly primarily with men. In the year before I started working with men, multiple people told me, you know what, I think you should be working with men. And I was like, nah. But when it finally landed that this is what I was going to do, I could go back and I could hear all of those whispers. I could see all of that evidence. I could see all of those little signs that, I was kind of being pushed this way. Like suddenly I wanted to read Way of the Superior Man. What do you know? I found To Be a Man, I think at an airport, and read it. And what do you know? Robert Masters was doing a workshop in my little town of Santa Barbara, California. Interesting. All of these things were available the years before, but I was blind to them. And then I wasn't. Curiosity, right? I think I want to start writing publicly. I think I want to write about things other than fitness. Why is that scary? Why is that intimidating? Curiosity. I think I'm going to move locations. I think I'm going to volunteer in hospice. I think I'm going to go to this event and someone's going to tell me about this thing called a dark retreat. That's really curious. I think I'm going to explore that. I've heard of this teacher, but I've never found his work. Now I find his work. I think I'm going to go sit with him. I'm curious about shibari and tying people up and kink and the BDSM world. What if I explored that? What if I allowed myself, because I got nothing else to do on Thursday through Sunday now? What if I go to an event? What if I talk to people? Do you see what I'm saying here? Allow the things that come into your field to be noticed, because perhaps they're coming into your field for a reason now that you have the space for them. Pardon me while I drink a little coffee. It's still early here. Get really, really curious. And then the last piece, rebuilding from scratch is brutal. I'll be honest with you. It's not fun, right? It often requires purchasing new furniture, finding a new place to live, creating new friend groups, creating new communities, putting yourself out there over and over and over and over and over, dating, being open to new experiences, showing up for things, showing up for yourself. It requires a lot of time and energy. It requires you saying, all right, I'm going to do this. Especially if it's a new, like if you've gotten divorced or if you're starting your own business, you're starting a new career. Think about this, right? A career may take 10, 12 years to really get off the ground before you're really good at what you do. It may take 2 or 3 years before you're proficient at it. This is why I say on the number 3 piece of this, bust your fucking ass. Like, get after it, get busy, put your time and energy into it, pour your life force into it, use the pain as fuel, the anguish and the grief of like, why did I lose my old life? I'm not going to focus on that, but I am going to take that energy because it is real energy, and I'm going to pour it into this next thing that I'm doing. I wrote 3 books in 10 years. I wrote 2 books, I think, in 3 years. Thousands and thousands and thousands of articles and pieces of content, just pouring all of that pain and anguish and grief and upset and anger into my new work. I remember driving 12 hours to teach for free at a workshop, spending the night, sleeping in my truck, and then driving home. Like, why? Because I think this is what I want to do with myself. These are the things that are opening. These are the invitations that I'm getting. So hell yeah. I'll drive 24 hours to teach for an hour just to be exposed to 15 people who now know who I am and know what my new work is in the world. Bust your fucking ass. That is what is required, I believe. You don't go half in on your new life. You go all in. Right? When I created Olsly, one life, soul led, all in, that I think is what actually is emerging for so many people after a major loss. Your soul is going, whoa, I woke you up. Now, guess what? It's time to get sober. It's time to get clear. It's time to get to therapy. It's time to find the men's group or the women's group. It's time to write the book. It's time to do the thing you have been sitting on for the last 30, 40, 50 years of your life. It's been on the back shelf. It's no longer allowed to be on the back shelf. Guess what? It will take your energy. It will take your chutzpah. It will take your drive. It will take your penetration. It will take you and your life force to create it. I wrote my ass off, folks. 2 a.m, 3 a.m, getting up at 5 a.m, writing again, 6 weeks, 8 weeks straight of not talking to humans and writing. Because that is what I wanted to put into the world. That is what it felt like my new life was asking of me. Be willing to bust your ass. Be willing to get back to like the 20-year-old you that was like, I'll sleep on a couch. I remember a friend of mine like slept on the jiu-jitsu mats at her academy just so that she could train for free and just train all day. Now she's like a powerhouse black belt. You can do that at 40. You can do that at 50. You can do that at 60. You can pour yourself into the new life that you're trying to build because it will require that. Right? I came out of the dark, 49 days in the dark this summer last August. I have been busting my ass since then because a new life was opened up. I didn't lose everything. I didn't go through the same Control Alt Delete, but spiritually I did. Brand new identity coming out of 9 or 7 weeks in the dark. Okay, this is getting long. I'm going to recap it. 1, if you are Control Alt Deleting your life or it's happened to you, my heart is with you. There will be grief. There will be tears. There will be sobbing. There will be loss. You will lose identity. You will lose friends. You will lose family. You will lose community. And I'm sorry. I mean that. Having gone through it, I have endless empathy and compassion for people who are in that situation. Like, truly listen to me. My heart goes out to you. And congratulations, a brand new life is opening up for you. A brand new life. But you got to accept that it's happening and surrender to the fact that it's happening and it happened. That frees you from the plugs of the past and the plugs of having to figure out why. Unplug those, plug them back into yourself and get to work. And number 2, allow there to be space. Don't fill that space with drugs, alcohol, sex, porn, work, exercise. Allow there to be space. Heed the call. Like, I knew really, really early on, I'm going to be sober for this, and I'm going to be sober for the rest of my life because that's the opportunity that's being presented to me. That's the opportunity that comes with this challenge. And maybe that's the price of entry into the new life that I want to live. So let there be space. Get curious about that space. Allow yourself to be reborn. Allow there to be rebirth. Allow a new identity to come through. Allow a new you to come to the surface. Humans are not meant to be stagnant. We're not meant to be the same person from 0 to 80. Allow a brand new life to be your life. And number 3, get to work. Do the shit. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to the pain of the experience to honor it by putting in the time and effort to build your new life. Okay, I hope this has been valuable. If it is, please share it with someone. If you're interested in guidance or support along this path, please email me, Traver at manuncivilized.com. And if you are a man who is going through this, I need you to know a lot of men don't survive change like this. So do it with brotherhood, do it with support, and come join us in the Uncivilized Nation. You can find us at www.manuncivilized.com/the nation. All right. Have a kick-ass rest of your day.